Good evening and welcome to the December 7th Clearwater City Council meeting. Anyone wishing to speak this evening, please grab a card from the clerk, fill out your name and address, and please keep your comments whether they're for items on the agenda or they're right over here, on my apology, or if they're for items not on the agenda. If you would please join me in welcoming Reverend Norma Fontaine-Filbert from Garden of Grace Ministries, stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon, everyone. Psalm 100. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he who has made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and his truth, it endures to all generations. Let us pray. O gracious God, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts and to bless your name because you alone are God. You are the eternal, self-existent one. There is no one like you. And Father, we thank you that you've allowed us the breath of life in our bodies, your very breath flowing in and out of us. We thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for your tender mercies. We thank you for your grace. And today we thank you for allowing us to be about your business and the people's business. Lord, we humbly seek your wisdom for these leaders that you've placed in charge of this city. We humbly seek guidance, O God, concerning matters that pertain to this city and to these people. God, we thank you for your word declares, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. And you, O God, will give that wisdom liberally and freely. So God, we pray a blessing upon each person, each leader, and we pray, dear God, that all the decisions and deliberations will be honoring unto you. Bless our leaders and bless our city. This is our prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Thank you very much, Reverend Fontaine-Filbert, for the invocation. We appreciate that. Introduce the members of the dais. To my far right is City Manager Jennifer Poirier.
Good evening.
Next to her is City Council Member Kathleen Beckman.
Good evening.
To her left and to my right, Vice Mayor Mark Bunker.
Good evening.
To my left, Council Member Lena Teixeira.
Good evening.
Next to her is Council Member David Albritton.
Good evening.
And next to him is our City Attorney, David Margolis.
Good evening.
We're going to start tonight with some special, Community Fall Celebration Update. If we could have Marilyn Turman from the Clearwater Urban Coalition leadership please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes, you have my name already, Marilyn Turman. Is it going to be possible?
Good evening.
I do not think so.
You know what? Okay, don't worry about it. I'll just wing it. My apology. My daughter graduated from nursing school today.
Congratulations. Very nice.
I look proud. So I've been rushing up from St. Petersburg, and so, Rosemary, I apologize. Yeah, I will get them. I wanted to show you. We had some amazing pictures. So I'm just here today to talk about, this year we had our 8th annual Community Family Fun Night, and it was absolutely amazing. And again, my name is Marilyn Turman. I am the Director of Communications for the Clearwater Urban Leadership Coalition. I'm also honored to serve as the coordinator for the Community Family Fun Night. This year, without a doubt, will go down. I'm going to wing this because I've been rushing. Forgive me. Will go down as the best year yet. It was absolutely amazing. We had over 3,000 guests who came to the event this year, from our very youngest to our seasoned seniors. So it was amazing across every ethnicity, which is the most beautiful thing, is that people are coming together and our numbers are increasing every year. We have the most amazing group of volunteers that work this event. Whether or not you are involved in government, we have some folk here on the diocese, Councilman Beckman. I know that Councilman Bunker also attended this year, but we also had Samantha. I don't know if Samantha's here.
She's here.
Samantha. Samantha Millette was our cotton candy queen this year. She was. And I will tell you, the event, for those who have never been, it is an event, thanks to this man right here, I'm going to say it again. I'll get to that in a minute. It is an event that offers to the community a place where they can come at the end of October, which is normally a time where they're out doing the door-to-door trick-or-treating, which we all know in this day and age is not the safest thing to do and the safest place to do it now. The world is not as nice as it used to be. But we provide this place. We hold the event at the Walter C. Campbell Park on the Buccaneer Field. It is free to everybody. All the food is free, the bounce houses, the rock wall, the entertainment. We have the adult gaming station, face painting, you name it, we have it. The fire department brings out the fire truck with the big hook and ladder. And I will tell you, I have to back up just a minute and just say, Dan Slaughter, that was hard for me to say, I'm so used to calling him Chief. Dan Slaughter supported us earlier on when we started this event, and I'm so grateful to you. I appreciate your support for what we've been doing and recognizing it's a beautiful thing for the community. It brings people together in a safe atmosphere. And again, we have the greatest volunteers. We have over 100 volunteers that volunteer for this event. It brings a fellowship in the community. It's fun, it's safe. I had some other things I wanted to say. I'm so sorry. It's just been running all day, but it's been a great day. So I want to thank the city of Clearwater because you all have co-sponsored this event every year, and I want to also a special thanks to Mr. Art Cater. Mr. Art Cater, thank you so much, Jennifer. Mr. Art Cater made sure everything we needed was available to us, so everything went off extremely well. Again, also St. Petersburg College, the entire baseball team came out and volunteered this year. I just loved them so much. Let me tell you, they had so much fun. When their shift was over, they didn't want to stop, so we had them. They were grill masters. They were doing the registration. They were doing the bounce houses, the rock wall, all that fun stuff. So everybody had a great time. We even had community, let me see, what do we call it? Family, not Family Feud, not Celebrity Family Feud, but Celebrity Fun Feud or something like that. So we had people dressed up as different celebrities, and we did fun stuff. And so since I'm winging it, I'm just going to say thank you all again. Thank you all. Thank you so very much for what you do. We appreciate that. We look forward to next year. God willing, if he allows us to see next year, we'll be back again next year. And we thank you for that continued support. And if there's anything that I missed, I will send an email to Rosemary. I do have pictures, but because I'm just coming back from a graduation, I didn't get a chance to get them to her. So my apology. Thank you all again. Appreciate it more than you know. And Chief Eric Gandy, I don't know if you're in here tonight, but if you're not, I want to thank you also. If you're there, you are in the back. Okay, good deal. Yes, and he was there too this year. So I had some great pictures to show you, but I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm going fast. So thank you all again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you very much for that update. We appreciate it, and congratulations to your daughter. Okay, do we have an approval of the minutes from the November 16th City Council meeting?
Move to approve the minutes?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Consent agenda, is there anything to be pulled this evening from the consent? If not, do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I have a request for 6.7.
6.7, okay. We have a motion for all the consent agendas other than 6.7.
Move to approve 6.1 through 6.6 and 6.8 through 6.16.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, 6.7. 6.
Authorize a purchase order to Alan J. of Sebring, Florida for the purchase of 8 police pursuit vehicles in a not-to-exceed amount of $428,152 pursuant to Clearwater Code of Ordinances, Section 2.563, Paren 1, Paren C, piggyback, authorized lease purchase order under the city's master lease purchase agreement or internal financing via an interfund loan from the Capital Improvement Fund, whichever is deemed to be in the city's best interest. Authorize an increase of $80,000 to the current purchase order with Enforcement 1 of Oldsmar, Florida, for the upfitting of these additional 8 vehicles, bringing the total amount to $330,000 pursuant to ITB 46-22, police vehicles, upfitting services, and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same.
Evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Council, Eric Gandy, Clearwater Police Department. This is 8 vehicles that we intend to purchase to outfit 8 new officers with police patrol vehicles. These are pursuit-rated Ford Explorers, and the upfit is through Enforcement 1 in Oldsmar. So the total price reflects the purchase of those 8 vehicles as well as the upfitting. A single vehicle is rolled into the contract with Clearwater Christian Academy to be paid for over the course of the contract. Glad to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions or comments on this? Anyone? Okay, do we have a motion?
Public comment?
Oh, any public comment on this? There we go.
I'm Mr. Haluba. Mr. Gandy's talking about another $838,000 or so for Clearwater Police. I believe it's all money that's needlessly spent because Clearwater Police is the secondary and unnecessary law enforcement entity in the county. We all know Pinellas County Sheriff's Office is primary law enforcement, even right here as we sit. Clearwater needs to shut down Clearwater Police Department and contract enforcement services with Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Now, Gandy's reasoning in requesting 8 new police cars apparently is because there were 7 new recruits hired. I don't understand that. Each new recruit gets a new police car. Why don't we have an accounting of how many police officers have quit or gotten fired, as in the case of Paloma? I mean, what happens to their cars and equipment? Given that Gandy has more than a few enemies within Clearwater Police Department, is this some sort of an appeasement payment? Just approving this request out of hand without more research and just on Gandy's say-so is really bad management, Ms. Poirier.
Anyone else want to speak to this item? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 6.7.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Let's go to administrative public hearing, 7.1, please.
Declare surplus for the purpose of donating to Habitat for Humanity of Pinellas County, Inc., a certain real property located at 406 Vine Avenue for the purpose of development of affordable housing. Approve the agreement for transfer of real property by the city and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same, together with all other instruments required to effect closing.
Thank you, Chuck Lane, Economic Development and Housing Department. This lot is on our list of city-owned properties that may be available for affordable housing. Council approved that list earlier this year. The lot is the only property on that list that is suitable for a single-family home. The property is 5,000 square feet. It's zoned medium-density residential. The city acquired the property at no cost through a tax foreclosure several years ago. Earlier this year, the city attorney's office completed a quiet title action, which allows us to transfer the property now with clear title. We recently completed a staff appraisal on the property and determined fair market value to be $83,350. Staff completed a competitive process to determine the appropriate developer for the transaction. 3 developers responded: Habitat for Humanity, Tampa Bay Neighborhood Housing Services, and Affordably Lavish Foundation. Habitat for Humanity scored the highest in the scoring rubric, and therefore staff is recommending donation of the property to Habitat. The proposed contract requires Habitat to commence construction within 6 months, complete construction within 12 months, and sell the home to a qualifying home buyer within 18 months. On November 14th, the Neighborhood and Affordable Housing Advisory Board unanimously approved a motion to recommend City Council approval of this item. I'll take questions, please.
Any questions or comments? Is there anyone from the public want to discuss this item? If not, do we have a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 7.1.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 7.2, please.
Accept the 2023 Local Housing Incentive Strategy Report developed by the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee.
As a recipient of State Housing Initiative Partnership Program funding, we're required by state statute to assemble an Affordable Housing Advisory Committee annually. The committee's role is to evaluate land use regulations, ordinances, our comprehensive plan, and any other city policies or procedures that might affect the cost of housing or affect a developer's decision whether or not to build affordable housing or workforce housing in Clearwater. The committee makes recommendations for policy changes, and these recommendations are written into the city's Local Housing Incentive Strategy Report. The prior year report is edited in strike-through and underlined form to show the committee's recommendations for the current year. The committee is required by state statute to evaluate 11 specific criteria and can also recommend strategies outside of those 11 criteria. There were no substantive changes to the committee's recommendations under the 11 required criteria. The committee had 4 meetings. They made some changes to the report to recognize the Live Local Act as an effective tool to encourage development of affordable housing. They added language in some areas to emphasize incentives that were already in place. There was a discussion about creating a mentorship program for affordable housing developers. They added a statement to the report that says everyone deserves a safe, affordable home. The committee asked staff to evaluate whether staffing levels are adequate to carry forward the committee's recommendations. Councilmember Beckman sat on the committee. She asked a question on Monday regarding a statement in the agenda narrative for this item referring to section C26 of the appendix to this report, which states, affordable housing should be incentivized to provide incorporation of affordable housing into all non-affordable housing developments. The committee struck the term non-affordable, as you mentioned. So the statement should read, affordable housing should be incentivized to promote incorporation of affordable housing into all housing developments. Thank you for pointing that out so I could correct the record. It's also a pretty good example of the many changes that the committee made to the report in terms of language changes. The committee now convenes annually, so we're beginning to see fewer significant changes to the report from one year to the next. But we are fortunate to have some very knowledgeable board members. They had some great discussions at each of the 4 meetings, and we also had some meaningful public comment. State statute requires that the committee approve the updated report. This occurred on Tuesday, November 14th, by unanimous approval. Following approval this evening, the committee will automatically sunset, and state statute requires that within 90 days, the city updates its local housing incentive plan, assistance plan, to incorporate any incentives in the report that the city desires to implement. I'll take questions, please.
Any questions or comments? Yes.
Thanks for changing that. I mean, that's a nice, easy statement, to remember and be able to communicate, so I appreciate that. Thanks, Chuck.
Anything else? Anyone from the public want to discuss this item? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 7.2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 7.3, please.
Approved multiple easement vacation requests from property owners, the city of Clearwater, as affecting real property at 112 South Osceola Avenue, Clearwater, is further defined by Exhibit A, utility easement per Resolution 86-17, recorded in OR Book 6179, page 299, and Exhibit B, 15-foot alley recorded in Deed Book 1536, page 21, as recorded in the public records of Pinellas County, Florida, and pass ordinance 9729-23 on first reading.
Thank you, Rosemary. Good evening, Mayor, council members.
Good evening.
Robert Casper, Public Works Engineering, Real Estate. The item before you this evening is a vacation of multiple abandoned city easements. The affected parcel in question is 112 South Osceola Avenue, the old City Hall. And to move forward with the process of moving the land, all encumbrances must be removed for title purposes. The abandoned easements in question reflect a relocated pumping station and a former 15-foot alleyway. All objection letters have been received with advertising completed. City staff have approved this request. Any questions, please?
Any questions or comments? Anyone? Anyone from the public want to discuss this item? If not, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Ordinance title.
Ordinance, sorry. Let's read the ordinance.
Mayor, this is ordinance number 9729-23, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating 2 easements as further defined by Exhibit A, utility easement per Resolution 8617, recorded in OR Book 6179, page 299, and Exhibit B, 15-foot alley, recorded in Deed Book 1536, page 21, as recorded in the public records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date.
That was worth the wait.
Yes.
Move to approve item 7.3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
7.4, please.
Approve amendments to the Community Development Code, Section 6-109 and Appendix C, Downtown District and Development Standards, and pass ordinance 9726-23 on first reading.
Good evening, Jamie
Good
Lopko, Planning and Development. As you recall, at work session, we did ask to remove section 6.109 from this ordinance, so you do have an amended motion for that. The remaining items for this ordinance are revisions to the Downtown District and Development Standards. Section C-301 is our public amenities incentive pool criteria, and there are 2 changes in that. Neither are substantial, they're clarifications. There are 2 residential density bonus incentives available. And we wanted to make it clear that it's one or the other. You cannot do both, so we clarified that language. And the second one was with our streetscape standards to allow incentives there. We wanted to list out the specific streets that were eligible for that, so we didn't have people coming in with the assumption they could have that incentive under streets that were like the DOT streets, the state-owned streets, where we could not have that happen. And then the only other change is in section C-803, under the general flexibility provisions for downtown, we're adding governmental uses as a use eligible for the general flexibility due to the unique character of government buildings, not a typical office building, so some flexibility would be warranted for some of those buildings. And so staff is seeking approval of this ordinance as amended this evening, since we did remove one section.
Okay, any questions or comments? Anyone from the public want to discuss this? Not, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number 9726-23, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, making amendments to the Community Development Code by amending Section 6-109, termination of status as a nonconformity, by amending Appendix C, Downtown District and Development Standards, Division 3, Character District Standards, and Division 8, Flexibility, certifying consistency with the city's comprehensive plan and proper advertisement, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 7.4.
Second.
All in favor?
No, before we cast the vote, just a clarification, is the motion to approve as amended, since there was a motion to amend?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, now, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Second readings, 8.1.
Have that moment. Ordinance number 9722-23 on second reading, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the north side of South Drive, approximately 500 feet east of U.S. Highway 19 North, whose post office address is 2634 South Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, together with certain right-of-way of South Drive into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date.
Any questions or comments on this item? Anyone want to speak to this item?
Come.
Come on up.
Apologies for never really been to one of these meetings, so.
State your name.
Just state your name, please.
My name's Douglas Marchetti. I live on South Drive.
Okay.
So there was a yellow sign posted there saying, yeah, come to the meeting if you have questions about the property or what's happening here. I just moved there, I don't know, a year or two ago from Germany. Before that, California, long story, but I've noticed that there's a lot of kids in the area, my daughter included. I don't know, 15 or 20 of them right there, pretty close to this property. And so I guess we're all kind of just wondering, us neighbors and I and my wife, like, what's this look like? Are there plans that have been shown to the public? Is there any way to, I don't know, I guess our biggest concern is traffic, because people really zip through there already. And so is there any way we can put a stop sign in close to, I mean, there's there's a three-way right there across the street from, literally directly across the street from the property, so maybe just to slow things down a little bit. Obviously, our concern is that if we go from a low density to a medium density, that traffic is only going to increase. We're also kind of curious about if it's being incorporated. I guess that means that perhaps it would be connected to the sewer system. How does that affect the road, construction, all that kind of stuff? So again, sorry for my ignorance on all this, but just kind of voicing the questions of the community.
Okay.
Thanks.
Can someone get with this gentleman? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, someone will
Sir,
get,
could you fill out a paper?
fill out a paper with your address and your name, and someone will get back, someone will get to you, okay? All right. Anyone else want to speak to this? If not, do we have a motion? Sorry? Didn't see him.
Gina was good, yeah. Gina had some comments. Gina, yeah. Gina was good to speak.
Good evening. My name is Hush Kovahi. I'm with Northside Engineering, and we are basically presenting this project to you all. This is merely an annexation, so we're annexing from Pinellas County to the city of Clearwater. And this wonderful young man had some good questions. If he has any concerns, I'd be glad to meet with him and discuss any possible future development with him. We are very careful in designing sites from safety and from the curb appeal. So I just wanted to give him a bit of a comfort that, call Northside Engineering. I'll be glad to give him my phone number if I need to meet with him. So also, I just wanted to plug in for your staff a little bit, because I think often enough you guys, don't hear compliments for your staff. I wanted to say that I've been in Clearwater area for 44 years, and Northside's been in business for 34 years, and we've always had wonderful relationship with your staff. And I have to tell you, sometimes we submit plans, and within a couple of days we get a response back, and that is absolutely totally unheard of. If you go to other counties and cities and so forth and so on, typically it takes weeks, and they don't even call you back. But your staff, and I know I've known Michael for many, many years as well, so my hat's off to you. Thank you for doing a wonderful job. Your staff is just first class.
Thank you, Hush, appreciate it. Did you want to speak? Okay. Anyone else on this item? If not, now do we have a motion?
Move to approve agenda item 8.1.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 8.2, please.
Ordinance?
I thought we read it already.
On the annexation, but we're moving on to 8.2.
Yes, 8.2.
I'll go ahead and just read 8.2 before we move on from it. Ordinance number 9723-23, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the north side of South Drive, approximately 500 feet east of US Highway 19 North, whose post office address is 2634 South Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, upon annexation into the city of Clearwater as residential medium RM, providing an effective date.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Anyone from the public want to speak to this item? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 8.2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 8.3, please.
8.3 is ordinance number 9724-23, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the north side of South Drive, approximately 500 feet east of US Highway 19 North, whose post office address is 2634 South Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as medium-density residential, MDR, providing an effective date.
Any questions or comments? Anyone from the public want to discuss this item? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve item 8.3.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 8.4, please.
8.4 is ordinance number 9725-23, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending Code of Ordinances Appendix A, Schedule of Fees, Rates and Charges, Article 24, Public Works, Fees, Rates and Charges, amending Section 1, Impact Fees, amending Section 3, Rates for Standby Fire Protection Systems, amending Section 4, Miscellaneous Additional Charges, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Any questions or comments on this item? Anyone want to discuss this item? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 8.4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. Thank you. All right, now time for citizens to be heard regarding items not on today's agenda. Not on the agenda, please make sure you fill out a card, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Here's a card.
Mayor? May I?
Yes, certainly.
Just while we're waiting here for a moment, I just want to clear the record on something. Last meeting, during Citizens to Be Heard, I was responding to some inquiry from citizens about why staff had not been responding to some of the letters. And I stated that a lot of those had, some of those had been pretty pointed, pretty nasty, in fact, or whatever. And a lot of them were repetitive. But when I did that, Mr. Michael Act, after the meeting, reached out to me and was concerned that I appeared to associate the Michael X with the worst of those kinds of emails and things that staff had gotten, which is not the case. And so he asked me to kind of clear the record of that. I'm very happy to do that, that they have been very respectful in their interactions with staff and me personally. And so I just wanted to kind of clear that up. I was not referring to the Michael X when all those things happened, but it was not the Michael X. So
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate it.
thank you.
I'm Mr. Haluba, and I aggravate the thin-skinned Brian Ongst. The Clearwater recycle debacle and fraud is ongoing. Fox 13 is having a series regarding really how screwed up recycling programs really are. I recommend all of you, watch and pay attention, especially you, Miss Beckman. Now, at a recent community football, flag football event, Mr. Gandy graced us with an interview. Often, we swoop in, lights and siren. Somebody goes to jail, and we're off to the next call. There's no time for positive interaction. It's very transactional. We understand that, Mr. Gandy. Dealing with Clearwater Police is always a negative experience. Maybe less swooping and a little more taking time to explain your actions would improve community relations. Gandy's statement is not only devoid of empathy, but signals all Clearwater police officers to mistreat the citizens they encounter. Nicholas Paloma is a perfect example. No policy changes have been announced to better screen applicants for police work. One would think, Jennifer, that you would make a public comment regarding the Paloma disaster, especially since you were promoted from human resource manager. Actually wrongfully promoted in my mind's eye. But no, nothing. Jennifer's just a silent mannequin. She's poised, articulated, and used really by all of you, but especially the adoring Kathleen Beckman. It's no wonder, as Mr. Dalton pointed out last time, that citizens are not listed on the Clearwater organizational chart. It's because you people absolutely do not care. You don't care. Vaffanculo stronza, Mr. Ongst.
You got a warning for the next meeting.
That doesn't work. I've already talked to Ms. Cole about that. You're out of line.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Anyone else? Who else would like to talk?
Let me know when I'm ready. All right. My name is Michael Taylor. I'm from Port St. Lucie. I'm from 4 hours away from here. And I'm going to start out with some really positive things. And I never thought I would say this, but Mr. Gandy, thank you for talking to whoever you talked to and saying you would not pursue going after the open carry law. Thank you. Margolis, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I hope I don't ruin it. But thank you for removing the panhandling ordinance here, because I was out on your Clearwater beach today, and I was panhandling saying I need money for guns and ammo. I collected roughly about $20. Panhandling today. Thank you. Thank you for removing that ordinance. Thank you so much. It goes really deep for me. But there is going to be some negatives, and here they come. Mr. Ungst. The thin skin of Mr. Ungst. Me personally, I think you should just go ahead and resign. I've just created a YouTube channel for Mr. Huluba. It's called The Thin Skin of Clearwater Beach, or Clearwater. Thin Skin of Clearwater. It's on YouTube. And the weird thing was, I was watching a lot of the meetings before you got thrown into being a mayor. And the one thing I noticed is that the mayor didn't say anything. He just sat there and shut his mouth, and you have a big problem because your feelings get so hurt. So, roll up my sleeves so we can make sure we get this right. Mr. Ungst, I really don't care about your feelings. Your obligation is to the citizens of this town, but for some reason, I personally have been persecuted by your town, by the police, in certain other places, but hey, we're just going to stick to the police today. So for me, to you, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, Mr. Ungst, and I hope that you resign and give it up to Mr. Bunker. Mr. Bunker is well capable of taking over the next 3 months of what you're not doing. Like, you don't even care to be here. Like, you're looking down at your phone right now, not even paying attention to me. Why? Because you don't like what I have to say. I come here once a month, and you're sitting here like, I don't want to hear. Just quit. Quit today. And rid the people of your existence as a mayor here. So have a Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year. And until you resign, I'll keep coming.
Good evening. Chris Michaelak, Clearwater Point, 855 Bayway Boulevard, Clearwater Beach, Florida. Mayor, City Council, City staff. Glad to be with you again, not the first time. Today I want to talk to you again about the fact that Decade properties should not be granted a construction permit. We have identified that they have already been given a construction permit, and they've already been given a demolition permit. At the November 16th meeting, I brought to your attention the Acela Citizen Access document, which shows that they illegally received a permit since they hadn't fulfilled certain obligations before they applied for the permit. Today, I sent another, on behalf of our 465 residents, sent another email to Ms. Poirier, you were all copied, which stated, beyond Acela Citizen Access, FOIA, Federal Information Act, has documented that they were again illegally given a construction and demolition permit. Specifically, after our meeting on November 16th, a very well-known, respected person, informed citizen, wrote to us and said, well, it's obvious that the city council believes that you are right, but they're not going to do expletive about it. That's how I feel right now. You know we're right. Whether we're technical to me means we're right. You refuse to do anything about it. The FOIA shows, most recently, we received the architectural plans after waiting many months. They still haven't corrected errors to include one of the major beach by design issues, which calls for mid-sized, mid-priced hotels. They have suites in their architectural plan that are up to 1,502 square feet. My condo is not even that big. That is a room in the proposed Chart House Hotel. The other egregious act, once again, showing that Decade is pretentious. They defy any of the proposals, any of the restrictions that you have put forward, the planning department has put forward. The second thing that they have done is, on September 27th, Brian Oaks Jr. submitted a restated declaration, a restated development order. He did not submit it to Gina Clayton, who wrote the original development order on September 22nd, 2021. He submitted to Pinellas County, and it was approved by Pinellas County. Well, tell me, why did he not submit that to Gina Clayton, who wrote that original development order? What I'm just going to share this following.
Please wrap it
You
up.
all remember in sixth grade,
All right, please
when
wrap it up.
we saw the balance, the
right.
justice, woman of justice, who said that each of us should not, that justice is not blind. That expression means that
Thank you, ma'am. Your
justice is
time's up.
impartial
Thank
and
you very
objective.
much. Thank
I'm
you.
asking you to be justice not
Thank you.
blind.
Thank you. Your time's up.
Final time, I'm not
Anyone else?
talking to you, to any of you anymore. Do something about
All right,
this.
please, your time is
Stand
up.
up, be counted.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Susan Watt, and greetings to the council, Clearwater Council, and Clearwater staff. I just have questions tonight. Perhaps you can answer them. Why can't we find a record of an application for and granting of a permit to make 850 Bayway a hotel? Why can't we find a record of an application for or a granting of a permit of to increase the size of the marina to 27 slips? I don't understand why Decade has created this fiasco. Since the spring of 2018, they have flouted the rules, regulations, and codes, and the city has allowed them to do so. The city says we've discussed these issues many times, as we have, but discussion is not resolution. Saying something is so does not make it so. And saying something is not so does not make it not so. Why didn't Decade simply submit plans following the rules and the codes of the city and the state and beach by design? With access to all hotel accommodations through a lobby. Why didn't they do that? With an aesthetically pleasing entrance, with 2 rather than 3 curb cuts. Why didn't they just make the design that fit? With an 18-foot setback from the seawall, with adequate fuel spill in the marina, with a required Class 1 standpipe for fire, with mid-price, as Chris says, with mid-price rooms, which was the mandate. They were supposed to fill that void. They haven't filled that void at all. That's what the hotel reserve was created for. So the list goes on. Could it be that they knew they'd get away with it? Are they hoping to offer more rooms if they build this hotel? As they did and still do at the Edge Hotel. How is the city monitoring this? Why won't the city guarantee that they will disallow more rooms than allotted? Had Decade simply followed the rules, we wouldn't even be going through this right now. Decade should not have flouted the rules. And here's what's scary. What infractions have we not found?
Anyone else like to speak to items not on the agenda, not on tonight's agenda?
How you guys doing tonight? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. It's a good part of the year. It's one of my favorite. I'm Tony. I'm from the Nash Keys, 528, 520, and 522, all separate of ones of our project. I want to thank you guys. After I spoke last time, Mike has been very helpful and guided me through a lot of the processes and just the issues we've had with the water line. So I want to thank you guys for that. Just to let you guys know, the fixing and the infrastructure that needs to be developed in the 500 block is large, very, very large. We have dated city issues as well as dated infrastructure from the current landlords. This has fallen on the burden of people like me, and now through this process, my expenditure or my cost for operating these three businesses, just for the construction, has risen now. With the new water lines of $120,000 was the amount of money I had to shell out for drilling the water lines, has now gone up to $1.5 million. I think that if you guys want further people that are not as naive as me to come down here and build this 500 block for the residents and for the citizens, we need to have more support. I'm very, very happy with the support I've been getting recently through the verbiage as well as the guidance through the system, but the amount of infrastructure development needed for this area is astronomical. I've done these projects before, and each rock I overturn becomes a greater issue. I'm fearful that I'm going to be the only one on that block that is able to develop it. I have plenty of investors from New York that I've done gentrified areas, build up city blocks, homeless areas that I've turned into luxury apartments and breweries. The cost here is substantially larger. It just is. I beg of you guys to help out the citizens, not for me since I'm wrapping up, and I'm happy to say that construction and our facility will be open in a couple months thanks to this last leg. But I say this for the people of Clearwater who want change, who want the city and this downtown to do well. Something needs to be done with funding availability for the common man, like just common entrepreneurs like me who come here and strive and try to make the place a little bit better. We don't have as much support as we would like. We do hear a lot of support for the larger companies like the hotels and larger businesses, but for small guys like me, this is our livelihood. $1.5 million is my life savings and my partner's life savings that we're investing into this area. We believe in it, and we really believe in it. And that's just the investment. As you guys know, for most businesses, a 2-year burn rate. So I'm expecting of equal value for the next year to be burning. And this is off just one entrepreneur and a fellow entrepreneur. Just keep that in mind when you guys make your policies and decisions. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Council. My name is Samuel Hutkin. I'm president of the Clearwater Beach Association. Sadly, at this holiday time, I'm here to address some lies and misinformation that was shared on Mr. Bunker's favorite platform of social media. Mr. Bunker, you were right there laughing it up with your friend and partner. I will not even mention his name nor give credence to him. His actions and past behavior are well documented, even most recently being kicked out of his own foundation for unethical behavior. I am very popular this year, it seems. When it's election time, people come knocking on my door. They want to meet, they want to talk, and they want to hear what my thoughts are about problems residents have. Why, you ask? Because over 14 years now, I have volunteered to help one of the oldest and most active civic associations in Clearwater. They want my support, they want votes, and they want financial assistance. I get it. It's how politics work. What I don't like is when people are being disingenuous. I get running for election costs money and time. But if you truly are trying to be there for the people, don't show up at my meeting once and disappear. You are the only sitting city council person who has not called or tried to ask to be invited to come to my neighborhood meeting. Only you seem to hide from wanting to learn the truth about things going on. I bet if I could tell you what's going on in the city of Clearwater more than you. If we sat down right now and took a test on policy and initiatives and how simply the city works, I could outscore you at every turn. I will say this to all who want to come and run for city council. We have serious problems, and we need serious people to address them and help city staff by motivating, directing when needed, and supporting them always. I've tried to be that person for my community. I will be voting, and you know what? Maybe someday running with that intent in mind. We are looking for a leader, a motivator, someone who inspires and doesn't waste time or resources just to hear themselves speak. One-trick ponies with their own agendas are not what the citizens of Clearwater needs. There are bad people out there by no stretch of the imagination, in every field. Bad lawyers, bad doctors. Your hate and disgust for Scientology as a whole is well documented. What I want is results. Let's get to work and stop talking on podcasts, laughing at jokes from a social media troll who makes his money off other people's suffering. That in itself is disgusting to me. And Mr. Bunker, as a sitting city council person, to associate yourself with someone who has lied, twisted facts to disparage individuals that don't do what he wants, that makes you as guilty as him. Good evening.
Anyone else want to speak to? Anyone else? Items not on the agenda. Good evening.
My name is Andre Johnson, born and raised in the city of Clearwater. Earlier last month, I attended this meeting and gave this a courtesy information to see what page was on as far as we're going to come to a conclusion of what's going on. And as the gentleman spoke of ethnical conduct, and that's what brought me here before you before. So as I even spoke in legal terminology, so we can really understand instead of just speaking as like a layman, and covering the violations, state and federal, and also the city ordinance violations itself. We never got a phone call, any type of anything. So due processes have been still continue to be violated. The lawsuit that was put in place against David Margolis and Michael Fino for violating the attorney ethical issues has never been addressed. That due process is still being violated. I haven't had my day in court yet. The day when you made your announcement, Mayor, that you would send someone to come see me, they did. I went to jail. That was another attack on my small business. I've emailed Ms. Kathleen Beckman, and I've already addressed these issues during our neighborhood committee meetings. It's all still laughed upon. It's not taken seriously. So I had to refile the lawsuits due to the fact that David Margolis, Michael Fino asked your attorney, Judge John Carrasas, who was also, I believe, your chairman of the Planning and Development Department, which creates a conflict of interest, not allowing him to even sit apart on such a hearing against me filing a lawsuit against the City of Mount Sopo Corporation. Now, it's clear the city attorney can only represent the entity, no agents. Can't even represent you, Mayor. You know that. It has to be the entity. So how could David Margolis and Michael Fino try to show up and represent two individuals who are employees for the city of Clearwater? That is depriving, as ex-chief Slaughter will know, depriving the police union to represent their own members. That's a federal violation itself, not respecting the federals to even do that. So I have to file in the case number 23006523-SC. That was the one still pending against David Margolis, Michael Fino. So who's going to actually have someone to represent them against my claim against them? Because I mean, they're not going to come in pro se, are they? And then we have the case 23-009191-SC. Now that's the one against the two employees that I had the claim against. And then we have also the claim me against the City Municipal Corporation, case number 23-009192-SC.
Those court dates are set for the same date, so I tried to contact the JA to change that. They have it set for December 19th, 2023 at approximately 11:15. 2 cases at the same time, and that's by the same judge. So how can I appear and hear 2 hearings at the same time, one against the city employee and also the city of Clearwater itself? And also, I got a notice this morning from Mr. Fiona, from Katie or whoever she is in the department with him. She sent a notice of appearance, so he's already ready to attempt it again to represent the employees personally, depriving, I guess, the ACLU or whoever is going to be supporting the officers.
Please wrap it up, sir. Your time's up.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're aware of it, but if you need copies of it, it's available. But I'm sure she types good. She showed me how well she types. I know she got that information.
Thank you.
So I don't think you need a copy. Now, I was deprived. If you want a copy of this, which was also sent to the second DCA, the higher courts to review the
Just give it
conduct.
to the clerk, and then we'll
So
look
I'm
at
just
it.
waiting for the unethical behavior to stop.
All right, thank you. Just give them to the clerk. Thank you. Anyone else on items not on tonight's agenda? Anyone else on items not on the agenda? Okay. City manager verbal reports? Nothing. City attorney reports?
Just to reiterate what I've said before, which is that the city attorney's office is not only authorized, but required to represent city employees when they are sued in their official capacities. There are actually very few exceptions that would relieve us of that responsibility. It's actually an obligation under the city charter. So not only is it permissible, but it's actually mandatory. Just saying.
Okay, thank you. All right, council closing comments. Okay, Councilmember Beckman.
Okay. Well, I wanted to start by saying thank you to the staff and event coordinators for the joyful holiday celebration last Friday at the lighting of the tree. It was absolutely wonderful. The weather cooperated. Parks and Rec staff, event staff did a phenomenal job. And tonight the menorah lighting was really well attended and a very nice event too. It was good to be down there. So I appreciate people who worked hard to make that happen. I wanted to ask people to take a minute to think about signing up for the Pinellas County Point in Time count. As you might know, I sit on the Continuum of Care, chair the Continuum of Care that oversees the Homeless Leadership Alliance organization that's in the county that navigates HUD funding for homeless prevention and services. So the Point in Time count and survey, it's called a PIT survey, is a yearly nationwide event with a very noble mission. It's to identify and better serve individuals and families in our county that are experiencing homelessness. The information that we collect during that PIT count plays a pivotal role in informing policymakers at the local, state, and national levels. This data then is sent to the U.S. Housing and Urban Development, HUD, office, and the Florida Department of Children and Families, DCF, giving them a real-time snapshot of Pinellas County residents who are experiencing both sheltered and unsheltered homelessness. And this information, what's most important about it, is it allows us to secure millions of dollars in funding for vital resources, including for affordable housing in our community. It is imperative that we get an accurate and thorough count. And in order to have that, we need to have volunteers go out in every part of Pinellas County to accurately count. It's one day. It can go from 6 a.m. to as late as 8 p.m. And we need volunteers who go out generally in 3-hour shifts. You go through a training. You have most often an electronic device, your phone or an iPad. There are paper forms as well. But you ask people who are experiencing homelessness a series of questions. You take that data, some information. If people don't want to give it to you, they don't have to. If people want to end a survey before the completion, they're allowed to end it, all that. But the more accurate and thorough information we get, the more funding we can receive. It also informs policy at the local, state, and national levels. It guides resource allocation and planning, and it drives our advocacy efforts. The date that the PIT count is this year. It's always a Thursday in January. It's Thursday, January 25th. If you want to learn more, or if you want to sign up for online training and to choose what location you'd like to go out in, you can go to pinellashomeless.org and sign up. I'll be out there for a number of shifts, but literally we need hundreds and hundreds of volunteers to get an accurate count. And then I wanted to also to say thank you to our amazing staff, because last week we published on our website under myclearwater.com strategic plan. We have the strategic plan now, both the front and back side of it, in Spanish that's linked there. So I think that's really great. A lot of our Spanish-speaking residents were asking for that, and I would ask you to check your voter registration at votepinellas.com, because there's an election coming up in March. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
First, don't quit. And next, I've got a little more than 3 months, I think, to get Mr. Hutkin's vote, so I'm going to work on that. I don't know what I said in the video that upset him so much. I'll go back and look at the video and find out. I do know when I went to his meeting, there was a mayoral candidate who was sitting up front, and I thought, oh, is this person getting an advantage over another candidate? I was concerned about that, but then he didn't talk throughout the meeting, and I found out afterwards that he is actually on the board of that group. So if I was laughing about that, I apologize. I don't get to a lot of his meetings, that's true, but I do try to help people on Clearwater Beach every way I can, whether it's businesses who are complaining that they can't keep employees because it costs so damn much for parking out there, and we as a city charge people $40 a month for a parking pass that they can't use quite often because the lots are full. I'm fighting for things like that. For the folks who are concerned about the cost of living there, the fact that employees on the beach can't live on the beach, those are things that I'm concerned about. I'm also more concerned about folks who are not the titans of industry. A couple of days ago, I was invited to attend a special reunion. This was last Saturday night, in which 35 largely elderly parents from our sister city, Ixmiquilpan, were brought here to Clearwater for the first time in over 20 years to meet their grown children and their families. And it was an incredibly emotional experience. And I took out my phone and I was videotaping that whole thing. So you can see this 35 families reuniting for the first time, ages. So if you go to my Facebook page, you go to Twitter, or you go to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to watch that in its entirety. I don't like to think of myself as a one-trick pony, but it's true that I take on Scientology because we have to. We have to. I had something here to say tonight about Scientology. Well, I'm out of time for it, but it's important that we stand up to them because they have adversely affected our downtown, and that can't be ignored. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Closer 2024.
All right.
Say something.
Let's take a break. Councilmember Teixeira.
Short and sweet. I was writing down the list of wonderful events that occurred in the city over the last 2 weeks, and there's so many, it's too long to mention. I tried to go to all of them. I enjoyed meeting everyone out there. Looking at the next 2 weeks, that list is even longer. I will do everything I can to go and help celebrate with all of you out there, but it's going to be hard, but I'm really looking forward to it. Good night.
Member Albert?
Well, I'll even be shorter than that. Everybody be careful and safe out there when they're traveling. It's very busy this month, and I would like to see you back here at the next council meeting, so be safe.
Okay, thank you very much. We've had a lot of good events recently. The police department, the Cops and Kids was a great event. The Christmas tree lighting was a great event. The menorah lighting tonight was a great event. Lots of great event. I talked about the Reindeer Lane at Countryside Rec Center last Saturday. This was a great event by the Parks and Rec. We've got a lot more coming up the next couple of weeks. Look forward to all of those. And a great meeting tonight. We'll look forward to seeing everyone on the 19th. Have a good evening.